Okay, this is a Sichas from Chelik Tesvav, Parshas Vayeisheiv, and it's a short Sichas, so maybe we'll just add a few ha'aras that we'll learn also. The Rebbe says like this, the Rebbe says, I spoke many times already, as Rashi bepirusha ala Torah, Rashi in his commentary on Chumash, bavordent jeder Shaila v'kasha was mikem fragen in limud pshuta shel mikra. Rashi answers every possible question that there is in the learning of the simple pshat. Und in die Erte, wo mir gefindt nicht, der Rashi soll mir wahr sein an Inyan Amukshe im Posik, and if there is a place where there is something not clear, not understood in the simple pshat of the Posik, and Rashi doesn't say anything, but we just said that Rashi answers every question that one might come up with on the simple pshat. He says, aber weiß, that proves as hot Hashem bavornt in Afridik in Pirish. That shows probably, based on something he wrote already before, the question is automatically answered, and therefore Rashi doesn't have to say it. Or, if you think about it, you'll realize that it's not a question. And these questions, many of these questions that Rashi doesn't ask, other Meforshim do ask. Because they are not writing their Pirush according to simple pshat. So in other ways of learning, you could have these kashas. But obviously, according to Rashi, in the simple pshat, it's not a kasha. So if ever we have a simple kasha in the posik, in the simple pshat of the posik, and Rashi doesn't say anything, we have to on our own try to figure out, or to find some place before that Rashi said that will answer this question, or if you start thinking logically, you'll figure out an answer yourself, because Rashi is basically simple logic. That's what Pshuta Shel Mikra is, Poshet, looking at the words and using a simple logic. Rashi is ACS Yoshor. Yoshor means straight. If you have a straight head, you'll understand what, and wherever Rashi explains, because he has to explain it, but otherwise it's self-understood. According to that, we have to understand in our Parsha, in Vayegash, in dem Sipur Vayeisheiv hat sich gelost erkennt seine Brüder. In the story that Yosef identified himself to his brothers. What do we have to understand? When the Posek that sailed, as Yosef hat sich gesagt, Ani Yosef ha'ed Avichai. On this Posek where it says like this, Yosef said to them, I am Yosef, is my father still alive? Stellt sich like the question is right away, wie kamen Meforshim Torah fragen Take, that many Meforshim ask, what's the question? The whole idea of the Parsha, till this Posik, jedoch wegen die Rede von Yehuda zu Yosef, it's all the words of Yehuda to Yosef, wie Yaakov hat mir gewollt schicken Benjamin in Mitzrayim, that Yaakov did not want to send Benjamin to Mitzrayim. Because he was afraid he'll leave his father, he'll die. Oh, and the Yehuda hat meire, and as Yehuda was afraid, as Yosef had verhalten Benjamin, and Yehuda said, if Yosef is going to hold back Benjamin, but as Yankov nicht aushalten, he said, Yankov won't make it. He won't survive if you don't send back Benjamin. And he said, when he'll see that this lad, Benjamin is not back, he'll die. Und der alle Reit hat Yosef der hört. And all these words Yosef heard. Not only that he heard, it affected him. So der Numen Yosef and Yosef it affected him so much that he decided now is the time that I must identify myself. He couldn't take it anymore. In other words, he believed everything they said. Wie kommt es, how is it possible? As noch dem allem soll erst fragen na Edo Avichai. And after that, after hearing all that, he's still asking if his father is alive. The whole discussion is about his father being alive. The whole thing Yosef is telling him that, Yehuda is telling him that the father didn't want to send him, and now if I don't bring him back, my father won't manage, won't survive. And now he's asking, father alive? What kind of question is that? And the emphasis is not the first time. You look back at the Parsha before, many times he asked them already and they answered him. So why is he asking again? We have to understand another question. And he didn't even wait for an answer. In other words, it's a question he's asking. So he should have waited. The first thing they should have said, yes, he's alive. But we don't find it. As soon as he saw that they can't answer him, because they got very excited, they got very scared of him, he continued this conversation. And what did he say to them? And he said, come close. And again said, Ani Yosef, Und sie erzählt, wie geworden der Meischel b'chol eretz Mitzrayim. He told him how he became the ruler of Mitzrayim. Messiah given, and he finished off, Ma'aru v'alu alovi, go fast to my father and bring him, bringen him to Mitzrayim. And bring him to Mitzrayim. Why didn't he first, before he gave this whole hemshech, he should have waited for an answer. He should have said yes. Oh, he asked the question, is he alive? First thing he should have waited, please tell me whether he's alive or not. And then they would answer yes, then he would say, but he didn't wait for an answer. Now, Ha'orah 6, the Rebbe says, V'ein leimer, you can't say, She'onu, maybe the Taka answered. Ela shelei pirish hakosef tainosam. The Torah didn't say. The Torah thinks says every word that discussion between this, and maybe they did answer. And the Torah doesn't say ma'anosam their answer. Al derech shelei pirish hakosef imkei mishayles yisef ha'it avichan cha yesh lechem ma'ov hayesh lechem avioch. Just like Rashi doesn't say anything before in Parshas Miketz, it also says he asked them. He asked them these questions: Is your father alive? Do you have a brother? All this, and there it doesn't say either that they answered. So Bepashtas, why it doesn't say, but they probably answered. He asked them and they answered. Why doesn't the Torah say it? Good, the Torah doesn't have to mention everything that they answered. But here you can't say that. Why? The Torah says clearly they didn't. Muss man sagen, so we have to say, as Yosef hat sicher gewusst, as ein Vater.
You just said they didn't answer, not that he didn't wait. Oh, he didn't wait.
No, they didn't answer. It says, why didn't he wait for their answer? And we see that in Torah, they didn't answer, and they didn't wait for an answer. So why not? Muss man sagen, as Yosef hat sicher gewusst, as ein Vater lebt. Must be that he knew for sure. He knew for sure that his father is alive. Und in die Werte Eda Vichai liegt an anderer meaning. So when he said, is my father alive? It has a different meaning. It's not like we think he physically asked him, is my father alive? That he knew. The proof that he knew, that he didn't even wait for an answer. The Rabbi Banel.
Excuse me. All these years.
Yeah.
Why he did not communicate with his father?
That's a different. That has nothing to do with the Sichas. That's a long thing. That's a lot of.
One,
all the Meforshim has that.
All the Meforshim. Mechtav, telephone, telegram. What's up? All these years, 20 years, 22 years, he didn't ask about his father. He didn't send messenger to say.
Well, the Rebbe answers. No, Rashi says, Yitzchok knew. Why didn't Yitzchok tell?
Yitzchak. No.
To tell Yaakov. So Rashi says, because Yitzchok said to himself, the Eibishter knows, and the Eibishter didn't tell, how could I tell? So the Rebbe says the same thing with Yosef. Yosef said, if the Eibishter doesn't tell, how could I? That's the Nikud of the answer. There's a long arichas to it.
So the Chayim remained.
Who said the Chayim? With the Eibishter. But the question is, how did they tell later? How did they tell? So Rashi says, because when he sent him to Mitzrayim to buy food, it says he saw ki yesh shever b'Mitzrayim. So Rashi says he saw a specularish, he saw some kind of ray. In other words, the Shechina started revealing it. The Shechina started revealing it. Now they knew they were able to tell. Okay, but the question here is, what is the meaning of the question? And when he said, I am Yosef, then he asked, is my father still alive? What did he mean with that? So to speak, it can't mean he just physically Pasha wanted to know if he's alive. That doesn't make sense. Because he knew, he was speaking about it the whole time. And he didn't even wait for an answer. Obviously, that's not his question. So what was his question? The Rabbi Banel learns, and so is the Torah Oruch, as Yosef was gefragt, nicht zu machen sicher, as Yaakov lebt noch. When he asked this, he didn't want to make sure that Yaakov is still alive. He wanted to enter into words with him. He wanted to start a conversation. Knowing that when he says, I am Yosef, they will right away get embarrassed. When he'll say, I am Yosef, so he looked for a way to talk about other things. So what would he start a conversation in order to get into a regular conversation? To speak out his father. And then after that, he would ask about the father, then how's your family, how are your wives? I mean, he would have asked the rest question. But he never got to the other questions. Because he saw they got very nervous and they got very scared. So they couldn't answer, so he stopped the conversation. But his plan was to just get into a normal conversation because he knew that when he'll tell him the truth, they'll get nervous. So he said, so he asked, is my father alive? Not meaning to ask, to actually find out the information, because that he knew. So you could say, as Eich Rasha learned as Eidem Pshatten Posik. So maybe you could say that's what Rasha feels also, that's how Rasha learns. Und darf es nicht schreiben befeirisch. If that's what Rasha learns, why doesn't he say that? Because Rasha doesn't have to write it. Weil hat schon aldera ze mefarish given freer. Because Rasha wrote something similar before that makes us understand that the same thing could be here. Where do we see it before? If in Posik, Vayemer le'ayeko, when the Eibishter spoke to Adam Rishon after he ate from the tree. And the Eibishter said to him, Ayeka, where are you? So Rasha says like this, Ayeko, yedeya heichen hu. He knew where he was. Eibishter doesn't know where he was. Elo likonesim bidvorim. He wanted to enter into a conversation. He shouldn't write him get scared to answer. So he started with a different word and he said, where are you? Another pasuk where it says, Ei hevel achicha. When the Eibishter told Cain, where's your brother Hevel? The Eibishter didn't know where he was. The Eibishter didn't know that he killed him. So Rashi again says, likonis ime bedivri nachas. To go and to start talking simple words, and then he would, not to start right away from the attack. So mainly Rashi here, you could say, relies on what he wrote there. So we'll understand ourselves that it was not a question to get an answer, but it was a question just to start a conversation. But der Pirush is nicht in ganzen glattig, but nicht in the dam. But the Rebbe says, in our case, you can't, this is not such a simple shot, it's not so acceptable. Weil acher Arichas Adibur von Yehuda wegen der Wirkung von Benjamins. Verhalten in Mitzrayim of Yaakov, because after the long discussion that Yehuda had about what kind of effect Benjamin staying in Mitzrayim will have on Yaakov, it's kedei chones b'dvorim at Yosef nicht gedarf fragen Eid Avichai. So even to start a conversation, he had to ask, is the father alive? The whole conversation till now was about the father or the father, so that's how he's going to start the conversation. So the father should not be part of it. That makes sense. He's speaking about the father and father, and even if he means to start a conversation. So ask about the mishpacha, ask about the family. Why would this? So there must be some other reason. The Rebbe says, you could answer like this. As der Loshen ha'eid avichai mit ahei, he said, ha'eid avichai, which means, is my father alive? Is nich kan shayle si avichai? It's not a question whether he is alive or not. It's an expression of a wonder. If you want to say about something, how is that possible? Is it so? You know, you would ask somebody, listen to this. That's what it is. Now, not because you want to know whether you know it is. You're just wondering. Same thing here. It's a wonder. Like Rasha said many times, when it starts with a hey, when Cain answered the Eibishter, when he asked him, where's your brother Hevel? So he answered, am I my brother's keeper, my brother's watcher? It's not a question. Like he's asking David, no, do I have to watch my brother? That's not a question. He just meant to say as a fact, I'm not my brother's watcher, but he said it in a way of a question. Loshen teimahu, it's a question of a wonder. The 8 other places we have. So you could say same thing here. Is by Yosef genatmiyo pliya was eid avichai. He was expressing his wonder. I am Yosef. Then he says, but I wonder if my father is still alive. It's not asking to get an answer. That's why he didn't wait for an answer. And he knew that he was alive. But he's expressing a wonder with that expression, like Rashi says in other places. The chilik is not a difference between here and what happened by Cain is, but the dugma now Menachem is by the case of Cain that we said before, where he answered, am I my brother's keeper? It's a notion of a question, but it's not a question that deserves an answer. It's a question to express a feeling. The question tells us that what you think is not. In other words, say, am I my brother's keeper? Meaning to say, I'm not. So by asking a question, it's mevatel. It says it's not. Cain felt that he doesn't have to watch his brother. In our case, it's not a question that destroys the svara. It's a question that is true and continues being a question. Yosef says Yankov lebt noch. Yosef knew Yankov was alive. Now, it brings out a wonder in his mind. How is it possible? Like Rasha said already earlier, when she said, Avram Avinu said, 100 years old you could have a child. So Rasha says, it's a question. So Rasha says, and there's no answer there either. So Rasha says, Yesh tmiya shen kayomes. Sometimes a question is a question that's not for an answer. It's an expression of something. And the question stays. The Abisha said, yes, your question is wrong. But what he meant to say was, I don't think it could happen. He's expressing, is it possible to happen? So when you would say something, someone would tell you something outrageous and you say, is that possible to happen? Now you're asking a question. Do you mean to ask a question? And you expect an answer and the guy should say yes or no. You feel that it's not possible. And I'm expressing, is it possible? So anyway, the bottom line is that the Rebbe is saying that you could say pshat here also, that Yosef didn't mean to ask, is his father alive? He just meant to express a wonder. I wonder how is it possible that my father should be alive?
Isn't it possible that he really wondered, because after all, they lived in Beersheba, which is quite a while at a distance from Egypt,
No.
and in those days they didn't have trains, so he would go with donkeys.
Okay.
It would take a few days to get to Egypt.
Yeah.
And his father was aging very fast. That's why when Pharaoh asked him how old he is, he realized he looked so old. So he was wondering, maybe his father died already.
Since when?
Since last time that I
So how would they know? When they came, they said our father is alive and he wants Binyamin.
Yes.
They never went back in between. So if they're afraid that he died after that, how would they know the answer?
From the first time that they were there.
No, this was this was at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So they came back a second time.
Right.
And they told him the father is alive and he wants Binyamin. So what's he asking? Maybe he died. Since when?
Since last time he was.
So how would they know if he did or he didn't? Why is he asking him? They didn't go back. This is the second time. They didn't go back again. So it seems to be like an interesting pshat. But dafür wir verstehen, the Rebbe says, if this pshat is not so poshut, why? Number one, Yankov is doch alt gewesen, shleishim amashana. Yankov was 130 years. Abraham died when he was 175, Yitzchak was 180, and he was just 130. So why is he wondering? Let's say we'll say this pshat. What's the wonder? A person of 130 years old, those years is not so much. Especially Rashi says earlier that a person lives usually according to the same amount of his father or his mother. So if his father lived 180, his grandfather lived 175. So what's the big wonder? Why would he wonder, is my father still alive? The main question is, what's the connection to what he started saying? He said, I am Yosef, and then I'm wondering why my father alive. What's the connection? In one sentence he says, I am Yosef, and I don't understand how my father is still alive. A third question, why would he, if that's the pshat, that he was wondering in his mind, how is his father able to be still alive, why would he tell it to his brothers?
How would the Torah record it?
Mm-hmm.
How would the Torah tell us?
Well, the Torah tells us the conversation.
Every part to discuss.
Okay, but that you could ask on a lot of things that the Torah says. Yeah, but it's a question. So why would he say it? Und noch ton das bald in selben Moment, wenn hat sich zu sehr gelost erkennen. Ani Yosef Haid Avichai. First of all, why would they tell it to them? And when did he tell it? The first second he says, I am Yosef, and then right away he says, I wonder why my father is alive. How is he still alive? Had it been pshat like we think, that's a question. He wants to know if his father is alive. So we could say, that basically what he wanted to know is about his father. That's what the first thing he asked, is my father alive? The moment he was able to ask seriously, as soon as he said, I am Yosef, my first question I want to know is father alive. That's if the pshat is a question, that he wants the information, he wants to know if he's alive. But if we just said before, that's not a question. He wasn't looking for an answer why he's alive. He knew that he's alive. And it's only an expression of wonder. Why did he have to show that wonder right away as soon as he's time Yosef? What's the connection? Is the beer in them Parshas. So the Rebbe says the answer is very simple. And why does he have to add it simple? Because if it wouldn't be simple, then you can't say Rashi didn't write it because he relied that we'll figure it out. Only time if it's such a very simple answer, then he said that's why Rashi didn't have to say anything, because Rashi understood that too. If we're only smart, we'll figure it out. So it's a simple answer. Rashi hat schon früher mefarish given frier, Rashi earlier explained it from Posik Vayimoyin Lisnachem. Right in Parshas Vayeisheiv, when he found out or he thought that Yosef died, so it says people came, his children came to comfort him. Vayimoyin Lisnachem. He wouldn't be comforted. So Rashi says, why not? Normally, so Rashi says, Ein odam mekabel tanchumin alachai. A person does not accept comfort on a mess, and the person is alive. V'sover shemes. If a person is alive and he thinks he died, will never be comforted. Why? Shalames nigzer gzeire shishtakech min alev v'lei alachai. Hashem made a gzeire decree that a person should forget the feeling that he had when the person died. Imagine if the person would not forget. How would you be able to live? Someone's close person, relative, a father dies, and you imagine how you feel b'shas ma'aseh. If you'd have the same feeling constantly, you can't live. So David did us a favor and said it should slowly be forgotten. But that's only if the person died. But if a person didn't die, you will not be comforted because there's no gzeira. And the far vayisabel Yaakov al bnei yomim rabim. That's why Yaakov was sad on his, and it was aveilus many years, all 22 years. He was a novel. He felt the same feeling.
At that point, did the brothers know if he was alive or not? Because after they were sold, he was sold a couple of times in Egypt. They didn't know what happened to him, right?
To Yosef.
Yeah, to Yosef, I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So till this minute, they didn't know.
The brothers didn't know.
No, they just found out that he's Yosef.
Yeah. And they didn't know that he was alive today.
So what's the game here? I don't understand.
Just a question.
No, in this Indian. No, we're talking about
Well,
being
the
alive.
brothers
But
went to console the father, thinking that, okay, because he was mourning, but he couldn't be
consoled.
Right, so then the brothers went, they didn't know either.
No,
what happened to,
they didn't know about that. But as far as they're concerned, why did they think they shouldn't think his name? Yeah.
I mean, because if they knew that he was alive, and they went to console, that
they had
would
to
be
try to. They still had to try to console him, but it just didn't work. Und das hat Yosef gesagt seine Brüder. Now we know what Yosef meant when he said to his brothers, "Is my father alive?" Ani Yosef. That's and the connection between I am Yosef and my father alive. Ani Yosef, I am Yosef. What does that mean? I am Yosef means I'm alive. So if I'm alive, b'meila vedet mi Eid Avichai. So b'meila that makes a wonder. How is he alive? Gibald as Ani Yosef. Since I'm Yosef Leib, Yosef is alive. Kum techui. So it comes out as. He's saying to them, 22 Jahre nacheinander Yankov getreuert auf him. Yankov was mourning after Yosef for 22 years. Because Yosef knew this rule that if a person is alive and you think he died, you can't get consoled. So he knew that he was mourning for 22 years. Und dazu noch, weil Yisabel was kommt noch an Ave Mervin Bekol Bonev. And also certainly when he was mourning after somebody who he loved so much, more than any other of his children. Atzar Mavil, it's a pain that's out of the ordinary. It's not common. Where do you have such a thing? Usually a person mourns because a person died. Where do you have a mourning of 22 years over somebody that's alive, which the pain that you have? Now I have a big wonder. How could he manage such a great pain? For so many years, when his Lebn is still alive. It's not normal for a person to go through such pain to be alive. And that's why he said it right away. And he said it in connection to I am Yosef. I am Yosef. That means, as you see, I'm alive. So obviously the father was so mourning so much. So how could he be alive? Und der Miet wird verstandig. Was Yosef hat gemusst, sagen die Tmir zu seine Brüder. But we had another question. Okay, that's how you felt. Why did they have to tell it to them? It's a wonder. In other words, the Rebbe is going according to the Pshat that when he said Eid Avichai, it's not a question. It's an expression of what he's wondering how he's alive. But the question was, why tell it to them? So what's the answer? He says, now we'll understand. Weil das ist a Hakdome zu sein weiter dicke Matke sein, der Binyan am Hiris von bringen Yaakov to Mitzrayim. Because the first thing he said to them, rush and bring Yaakov to Mitzrayim. What's the rush? So since he wanted to tell him to rush, he wanted to give him a reason why he thinks that you have to rush. What's the reason? The Mihiris is nicht normal alu alovi in dem losen wissen Yaakov. It's not rush to Yaakov just to let him know the good news. Was frier die Psurate was Yosef lebt. Just a simple pshat you learn. He said, rush. Why rush? Because go faster so he'll get this good news earlier. It's not only for that. Nor ubemele veter ufhern truyer nefim. And according to Poshup Pshat, let him know right away that I'm alive, so he'll stop mourning. But it's more than that. Nor eich redo elai al tamid. Come down to me, bring him, don't wait. And in other words, he said, rush and bring the father here. Why? Since it's 22 years at this morning, and it's pushed, even I wonder how he's surviving. Every second counts. You never know. Such a tzar, you never know. It's sakonis, every second could change. After such a pain, is even after he was revived, and he felt better because he heard the good news that his son is alive. So to go to see him, that he should come and see, has to be very fast. So now we know the whole thing. As soon as he identified himself, his plan was, because in his mind he knew that it's a big tzar that Yaakov had, so his plan was to tell him, rush and come right away and bring him. Because it's sakonis. So that's why he had to give that hakdamah. How does he know it's sakonis? Why? He's 130 years old. So that's why he started. I am Yosef. That's Poshet. He identified. But he said, now that I'm Yosef, you see that I'm Yosef, so I know, I'm telling you, I know that he mourned for so many years, and I'm sure that his life is miserable. And therefore, rush and bring him. So you had to say it behemshech to Ani Yosef. And the question was, why did he tell it to them? Because he wanted to tell them why they should rush. He wanted them to rush. He had to explain it to them.
So once he finds out the Sichas is over,
no.
Why does he have to dafka come? They tell him that Yosef is alive, we saw him. The Sichas is over. Why not when he comes now, he comes later, he comes in a month.
Sure, as long as you didn't see him.
But seeing him is not Sakana.
No.
Seeing him is not part of
if he has tzar, yes. If he has tzar, so, seeing is believing. As long as he didn't see him, maybe, I think, I'm just saying it doesn't say here, Sakana is even greater. Imagine you know that he's alive, and you want to see him, and you can't go there, and it's going to take you a month to get there, 3 months to get there. Iber Lebenish, is much worse. Verstandig der Arichas Loshen von Yosef. The Rebbe says, based on this, we'll understand the lengthy words of Yosef. Was Eider sein Sogen zu the Shvot im Arav Alu Alavi, before he said, rush and go to your father, my father, and bring him, hat dreimal lieber gechazet. 3 times he repeated, Lemichyo shlachani elikim lifneichem. Hashem sent me for you to be able to have you survive. Another time he said, Vayishlacheni elikim lifneichem. Hashem sent me. And then a third time he said, Leyatem shlachtam eisi heinu ki elikim. You didn't send me David. Why did he have to repeat it so many times here in this inyan? And this was all before he told him, bring the father right away. Why is it important? So the answer is very simple now that we know what he meant. Bald, as he had the gewiss Yankev agent und zet nit Yosef, nis fra nach Shash for sakonis and Poshes, since he was trying to tell him that there's every second that he doesn't see me, his life is in danger. Stell to the Shaila, right away you come up with a question. Wie hat Yosef sich begenugen, min sagen zu the Shvot im Arav Alu Alavi? How was it enough that he told him, so go fast to my father, as they sollen gehen, kann Eretz Yisrael und bringen Yankev von dort in Mitzrayim, they should go to Eretz Yisrael and bring Yankev to Mitzrayim, oder gedarf gleich allein gehen, bim Hirus kann Eretz Yisrael und sein Yankev. If you're claiming that it's terrible till he sees you, pick yourself up and go. That's what he was thinking that they would ask him. And they would ask him. Based on the hemshech to what we said before, that the whole thing is telling him, since he didn't see me, as long as he doesn't see me, it's dangerous and this, and therefore run. So go yourself. Neisef to them was mit Kibud Av, hat gedarf gehen zu Yankiv mit Chila. Certainly it's Kibud Av, he should have gone. It's Kibud Av. Und wir fragt, dass es darf sein, bim Hirus Gedela. He should rush. Und Yankiv is schon gewinn Azok, and he was old. So all these things are normally, even if it wouldn't be such a great sakana, the moment he revealed himself, and now they know who he is, even if it's not dangerous for Yaakov, he should have gotten up and gone. Kibud Av, you're able to see your father, an old father. Certainly, if he claims to them that you should know that it's dangerous if he doesn't see me, so rush. So the answer is, and durch them, so if he'd run himself, he'd be much earlier. So Yaakov would get out of the danger much faster. And thus said Yosef Bavon, so Yosef had to answer that question. So he told him, durch Magdim is dann about Gosh come upon him, by first saying, and he said it a few times, Ados was said as in Mitzrayim is nicht die Bchiros Ebertzayne. The reason I'm in Mitzrayim is not because I chose, not because I want. No shlochani elikim. He kept on 3 times. He said, Hashem sent me here. Bishlichusay shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu zu sein der Mashbir Baruch Chol HaMoretz. I'm sent here as a shliach of the Eibishter, he's saying, to feed the world. The Mele hat nicht keine Schuss wegen. I can't leave. Because Hashem put me here. That's what he said. So the main thing he wanted to tell him that it's a sakana for Yaakov. How do I know it's a sakana? Because I'm Yosef. I'm alive. B'meila, it must have been morning, so he has a big tzad. B'meila, for sure, his life is in danger. And therefore, I have to rush to see him. And why am I not going? Because Hashem sent me here. I have to be here. I have a job to do.
Did he not also send his coat to the sentinel because he knew they would argue on the way?
That's why he sent what?
He said, told him not to argue.
Right.
And then he sent his coat to the sentinel so when his father smelled it, he could identify that it was him, Joseph, and he was alive.
Okay. It's still not enough. It's not enough. It's not the same as seeing.
Exactly.
And he would feel so bad that he can't see him.
It's a long time before, 22 years.
Yeah. Noch an Inyan is in the Notwendigkeit von Marav Alu Alavi. Then the Rebbe says there's another point why he told him to rush. Till now he said, why did he tell him to rush and bring him right away? So, because his life is in danger if it's such great pain. Now there's another Inyan. Rashi hat schon früher mefarish given. Rashi already explained before, as Yaakov Avelis Abnei Yosef, that Yaakov's mourning for Yosef is keneged the chov beishono v'syankiv et mekayim gven kibud aveim. It's 22 years that he mourned. That his son wasn't with him because it was like a punishment for the 22 years that he didn't honor his father. He was by Lavan. He was there. So 22 years he was away from Yitzchak. And the far. So now, wissen die Gadichov Beishono for Yankov saying Hashem again. Now that it's over, 22 years are up. So Yankov's punishment is over. What Yosef gefordert from the Shvatim. So Yosef said to his brothers, Ma'aruv alu alavi. Now rush. Vibald, as there's man ha'inish again, because the time of the punishment is over. Darfo muzayin leikvam afilu keherafayim. Not one extra second shall he be be punished. So now that it's over, there's no time to waste. The Lashon that says Hashem taking the Yidden Adam Mitzrayim, he didn't waste one blink of an eye. So here also, how could you allow him to not see me, which means that he will not have from me the Kibud Av, when his time of punishment is over already? This will explain another point. He said to them, rush and go up to my father and bring him. Why did he say to my father? He should have said, go to our father. Besides the fact that why is there a rush? Because of Yosef. Because Yosef is missing. So it's the fact that he is Yosef's father. But besides that, is there mit hoter Meram is given, by doing this, he hinted to them, as the Mihirus is verbunden mit sein Yosef's kennen mekayim sein mitzvahs kibud av ovi. He wanted to hint, and you know why you have to rush? Because he's my father. And I'm not able to honor my father. And the time has come, I should be able to. The reason I wasn't able to, because of the 22 years that he didn't do it. But now that that's up, so now I am supposed to be able to do it. So rush and bring him back right away. Now the time is over for the punishment. So now, that's why you should rush, according to the second point here. So that's why he said my father, because the whole thing is, rush because I have to give covet to my father because his time is up. From this we have a lesson in the service of Hashem. This last point. Sometimes you have to use a form of gvura and neinish. Sometimes you have to punish. It says you should have the right hand should be mekarev and the left hand should push away. Sometimes that's more important. That's the way to do it. Sometimes certain situations are the only way to accomplish is by being strict. You always have to be with chesed, but sometimes it happens. We have to know. As es fordert sich dabei as hirus yisera, we have to be very careful. Don't use this midah of strictness more than needed. The moment the second comes that you don't need to be strict anymore, you have to stop right away. You say, well, I'm not sure, so I'll continue a little bit. When it comes to punishment, it comes to strictness, you can't have an extra time. That we see from here. Yosef said, since the time is over for his punishment, run! So there shouldn't be one extra moment. And we should start doing the Yemim Karevis.
Shkoyach.